Hello, children, and welcome back to your Fun with English lesson. Do you remember the topic which we covered in our last class? Yes, we were speaking about gender. We learned about the different names the male and female of each of the animals are called. I would like to begin today's class with something special. So tell me, children, are you excited? Can you guess what we are going to do today? We will begin our lesson with a story. Do you not love stories? I have always loved stories as a child. Both my mother and father used to tell me stories. And today I am going to share one such story with you. This is the story of an amazing princess. She used to live in a huge castle in a far, far away land. Can you see, children? What does this place look like? There are mountains and valleys and lots of trees. The princess grew up amongst the beauties of nature. She was strong and brave, just like her mother. Sadly for the princess, her mother passed away when she was very young. Her father raised her with a lot of love. And on his passing, the princess became the queen of a kingdom. She was a very wise ruler and took good care of all her subjects. She was a kind queen, and everybody in her kingdom loved her. So, children, does this princess who became a queen remind you of someone from some other story? Yes, isn't she like Elsa from Frozen? Elsa also was a very successful queen, and she had her loving sister Anna by her side always. With this wonderful story, would you like to continue with our class? Great. So let's get back to our lesson. Do you remember, children, what was the activity that I gave you in the last class? I told you to make a family tree with the names of the different relationships in your family. Now, if we relate it to our story today, who is the ruler that I mentioned in the story in the beginning? Yes, it is the king. And the princess later becomes the queen. But before her, she had the queen mother. So, children, can you tell me which one is the masculine and which one is the feminine noun? Yes, king is the masculine noun while queen is the feminine noun. Now let us move on to the other characters. Very often in our fairy tales, we come across the sons of kings and queens, and you must be knowing that they are called princes and princesses. So, who is a prince? Which noun does he belong to? Yes, prince will be masculine noun and princess is the feminine. Again, something that we see in fairy tales is how the prince marries a princess. So on the wedding day, do you know what they are called? The princess becomes the bride and the prince becomes the bridegroom. But this is only on the wedding day. What shall we call them after they are married? And every fairy tale is incomplete without a bit of magic. And do you know, children, what do we call the people who perform these magic tricks? Yes, a witch or a wizard. And which are the genders? Right, witch is the feminine gender and wizard is the masculine. Do you know stories in which you heard of good witches and wizards? Yes, we know about the Wizard of Oz and the good witch Glinda. And from the very famous Harry Potter series, we know that not all witches and wizards are bad. In fact, Harry Potter himself is a wizard, isn't he? And he is the hero or the lead protagonist of our story. So you see, children, even witches and wizards can be good. So children, did you think, what do we call the bride and bridegroom after the marriage? Yes, correctly so. They are called husband and wife. Who are the husband and wife in your family? Think about your family tree and tell me. Yes, your father and mother are also husband and wife. Which were the other relations in your family tree? I'm sure you must have mentioned your brother or sister. These can be your own or your cousins. In these words, brother is the masculine noun, sister is the feminine. Do you live in a joint family? If you do, you might have added your aunt and uncle. And even if you do not live in a joint family, if you have aunts and uncles, they will be part of your family tree. Now tell me, children, which one is the masculine noun and which one is the feminine? Yes, uncle is masculine and aunt is feminine. I am absolutely certain that your family picture is incomplete without your loving grandparents. What do you call them? Grandma and grandpa? So, your grandfather is the masculine noun and your grandmother is the feminine noun. Just like father is masculine and mother is feminine. Now, think about your school. How do you address your teachers? If you have a male teacher, what do you call him? Yes, you call him sir. And what about female teachers? What do you call them? Yes, you call them ma'am or madam. Similarly, in different jobs, the male and female workers have different names. Here are some examples from the hospitality industry. That means people who serve you in different places. Here is a table showing masculine and feminine nouns. So, a butler is a masculine noun, while the feminine of butler will be a maid. Where do you find butlers and maids? Sometimes, in very rich families, you might have butlers and maids at home, doing your work, but otherwise we find them in hotels. We also have steward and stewardess. Where do you find these people? You might find them in the airlines, airplanes, and again in hotels. What do you call a person who serves you food? Yes, they are waiters because they wait on you. While the masculine noun is a waiter, the feminine counterpart is a waitress. Now remember, children, even if these people are serving you, they are just doing their work. And more importantly, they are all human, just like you and me. so we should always treat them with respect. If you need to ask something, you have to ask politely. And when they do something for you, you should always thank them. Now that we have revised about masculine and feminine genders when it comes to people, are you ready for an activity? I'm going to show you a series of sentences and you have to tell me which word should we fill in the blank. The first one goes, my dash is a businesswoman. The options given are mother and father. I will repeat the sentence. My dash is the businesswoman. So tell me, children, could you guess this? Which word gave out the answer? Yes, my sentence says woman. So I am talking about a female, and between these two words, mother is the feminine noun. So I should use mother to fill up my sentence. My mother is a businesswoman. Are you ready for another one? Great. Let me see if you can guess this one. My dash likes to cook his favorite dishes in the weekend. My dash likes to cook his favorite dishes in the weekend. The options are aunt or uncle. Have you guessed it? Wonderful. So what should be the answer? No, it cannot be aunt. It is uncle. And can you tell me which word gave out the answer? Yes, because I used the pronoun his. Yes, children, when you are looking at sentences, remember the pronoun he is for the masculine and she is for the feminine. This is one way to identify whether I am speaking about a masculine or a feminine noun. You also have to remember to use the pronouns correctly. Here goes another one. My dash likes to tell us stories about his childhood. My dash likes to tell us stories about his childhood. The options are grandmother and grandfather. So tell me, children, who can this be? Correct. Just like my previous sentence, the pronoun his gives out the answer. I'm talking about a male figure, and that is my grandfather. So my grandfather likes to tell us stories about his childhood. Do you like listening to stories told by your grandparents? I have always loved their stories myself. And this is the last one. My dash loves to play with her toy train and cars. My dash loves to play with her toy train and cars. The options are sister and brother. My dash loves to play with her toy trains and cars. Can you tell me which word is the clue? Right. When I'm using her, I'm talking about a girl. And sister will correctly fit in the blank. So my sister loves to play with her toy train and cars. Did you get all of them right? Great. That means you have followed your lessons well. I'm extremely happy with you, children. Well done. So, children, did you enjoy today's class? Apart from learning about gender, a very important thing for us to remember is both the masculine and the feminine gender are just categories, and all people, whether male or female are equal. There is no job, big or small, and there are no roles that are more or less important. Everyone around us performs their duties, and it is our job to respect them and love them for who they are. So, on this note, children, I would like to thank you for being such good children and listening to the class so well. I hope you enjoyed doing the activity, and in case you have not, you always have time to complete it this week as we continue learning about gender. In our last class, we learnt about the different names of animals under the masculine and feminine heads. And this week, we learnt about the same categories for humans. So until our next class, I would like you to revise the topics and take care of yourself and all your family members. Bye, children.